Exceptional growth into Fiji. We had 923,000 tourists come last year. So we were hoping for just a moderate increase on that this year. Our April figure just came in at 0.4% up year on year, which in our language actually was quite solid, because last year Easter fell in the March month rather than in April. So we're really pleased with that. Overall, that represented another 276 million that came into the economy for April. So it puts us in 2024 at the moment ahead year on year of where we were last year. But of course, we're now heading into our peak period. So it's one of those things where we certainly have to keep momentum going. So one of the prime reasons why we're here today, we had a very good meeting with the Minister of Finance, with Minister Prasad and his team. And we were really pushing the case collectively as a tourism industry across. There was hoteliers there, Fiji Airways, FITA, and us at Tourism Fiji, really, making the call to Minister Prasad that we need to continue to invest in tourism. It's a really important industry that we don't just assume that it's just going to happen. And I think we all recognise that tourism has that wonderful multiplier effect. So what tourism does do is it really generates investment. It generates jobs in things like logistics, in retail, transport, agriculture as well. So it's such a driving force. But of course, what we're seeing today is a very competitive landscape. We're seeing a lot of money being spent in some of our competitor destinations. And we are aware that markets like Australia, which is 45% of our making up 45% of our tourists that are coming to Fiji. In terms of the growth, we want more growth out of Australia. So to do that, we need to invest. So we certainly made our case today to the Deputy Prime Minister, Prasad, to invest in Tourism Fiji, to put more budget in there to allow us to continue to grow some of our core markets like Australia, New Zealand, but also to look ahead to markets like the US. We know that Fiji Airways is looking at adding new ports out of the US into Fiji. So from that perspective, we want to be able to have the funding to be able to really support that and make sure that anytime Fiji Airways goes into and opens a new route, that it works really well. And we're really conscious of that. We didn't have budget to support when they went into Vancouver or Hong Kong. And we want those markets to grow. Some of those markets have been relatively flat, and we want them to keep growing into 2024, and we need budget to do that. One of the things that is really exciting for us, cruise continues to grow really well. In April, we had 12,900 tourists come through cruise, and next year, in a really significant development for us, we have the first turnaround which is happening in Fiji. So Norwegian are going to be doing 3 turnarounds, which means 2,500 people fly into Fiji to board the boat and 2,500 get off. So that's really significant, and that'll be happening in May. So from that perspective, there's certainly opportunity next year. Again, if we just keep that investment momentum going, which was definitely our message today when we spoke with the Minister. The overarching message, probably the headline for tourism in Fiji, is that we believe that over the next 4 years it represents $1 billion opportunity. And we feel that tourism is the only industry in Fiji that can provide that level of increase over the 4 years. Now, what that comes from is an increase in visitation, those tourists spending a little bit more, and then the number of rooms that we're adding into Fiji over the next 4 years. So you already know about projects like the Crown Plaza, the Western, etc. And then you've seen some projects be announced like Batu Talay, Radisson Blue, the Ridges at Wailoaloa. So some of those projects, coming through, they'll land by the end of that period, which will mean that we can accommodate more people. And when we can accommodate more people and we've got more supply, that means our prices work out better. and we can get our value proposition right for tourists. But the really good thing is, as tourism continues to grow, what it's doing is it's really fueling investment, and we're seeing that. You would have seen the announcements coming out about the number of projects in Fiji. I can share with you that this week we had one of the most significant investments in Fiji's history, where a private investor has purchased some of our islands, and that's a really significant investment. And what that is doing is showing that they have confidence that investing in Fiji can work, and that what they can build there, which is going to be incredible, will be something that makes economic sense for them. So to have a buoyant tourism industry means that we can attract this kind of level of investment into Fiji, which is really significant. So from that perspective, certainly we absolutely believe that tourism is a real force for good for the country. We see the jobs that it creates, we see the revenue that it creates for government through things like departure tax and so on, and then obviously the spend that the tourists are spending. And plus, tourism is a great way for us to showcase our culture. I think that's one of the things that we feel most proud of, is that tourism is a way to keep our multicultural society of Fiji alive and well, and to showcase that to people. So from that perspective, the overarching message today, which we were very well heard, we felt like it was a very productive meeting discussing a number of elements, but we reiterated that with the right investment for Tourism Fiji and for tourism as a whole, and giving us the budget that we're asking for, that we feel like that can generate a $1 billion opportunity over the next 4 years, which is really significant for Fiji. So tourism is certainly not going anywhere. So from that perspective, we're really pleased with where the year is going, but we certainly need that continued investment going on.